What's going on, people? We back at you again with another episode of the Real Spill Sports Podcast. I am Big Nate here with Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor, what's going on with you?
I can't complain, man. Loving this Ncaa Tournament, loving the NFL off season. Just another day of life. Can't complain, brother.
Another day of life, huh? How you feel about the Iowa Hawkeyes, bud?
You know, they let me down. I was not expecting that. So I gotta say to the viewers, to you, to my own son Mariano, I was wrong. Y'all was right. My bad. Let's move it along.
And Mr. Adrian Browder said El Paso. you take that one with you too. What I forgot, we forgot to do first episodes, a little back history on us. So me and Coach Taylor have known each other probably about 13 years, good friends. Both really passionate about sports. We argue all the fucking time about sports on the phone. So he's like, you know what, we should just might as well turn this shit into a podcast. So we now are starting a podcast. I'm just, like I said, I'm very passionate about sports. I've been a coach, AAU basketball, somewhat played when I was young, and just really passionate about sports. Coach Taylor, what's your background?
Well, I grew up in Detroit, greatest city in America, if you ask me at that time. Started playing basketball, I think when I was 9, played all the way through college, had some great issues and stuff. Went overseas, went to Canada, and then got into coaching at the college level in Canada, and really cut my teeth at the prep school level in America and helped send a lot of kids to schools and different things like that. And just like you, passionate about the kids, passionate about sports, particularly basketball. My own children play sports, and so that would be my background.
All right. Well, we're going to start off with the Ncaa Tournament, which last time we came at you was about to get underway. One of the main talking points, of course, was the Iowa Hawkeyes, which is near and dear to me because I grew up in Iowa. That's where me and Coach Taylor met. And people having all this optimism in the Hawkeyes, which I told people not to have any optimism in because they do the same shit every fucking time. And they did. And they lost in the first round of Richmond. The thing that's crazy is everybody was predicting the Iowa team to get to the Sweet 16, and it was the damn wrong Iowa team. Iowa State is in the Sweet 16. What do you think about that? Nobody saw that coming.
I wasn't talking about it, but I did have them beating Wisconsin and their first round matchup. I forgot who they played in the first round, but I saw Iowa State play one time this year, and they were actually playing Iowa, who they just handled at Hilton Coliseum. Just gave it to Iowa. And so they got a young point guard and the Hunter kid is really athletic. Their team has got the Brockington kid who was at Penn State, who we both know from our Big Ten, coverage there, how good he is. The craziest thing that I learned about Iowa State though is their new coach, TJ Ockelsberger. I know I'm botching that name or whatever. It comes from UNLV. What I didn't know until they won on Sunday was this man's married to a black wife. Did not know that.
Wow.
Yeah, and since I do know that, got nothing but the utmost respect for TJ and just his everyday struggles and what that's like. Shout out to TJ. So knowing that, I've actually picked Iowa State to win their next round game and go on to the Elite Eight.
Okay, so you like Iowa State beating Miami?
I do. I think that they're playing another high major like themselves. It's had some, struggles and pretty much been counted out. And so I don't think they're playing one of those Goliaths, that the referees tend to blow the whistle for, it looks like, in this tournament. So I'd like them to win at least one more game in this tournament. I really like that Hunter kid. I really like Brockington. And like I said, man, TJ got a black wife. We're gonna ride with TJ, man. I'm gonna give Iowa State the nod.
Iowa State was weird because they started off hot and they got, right. I want to say they were ranked in the top 10 early in the season.
Yeah.
Then they went on a real bad slide to where excuse me, I had stopped keeping track with them and was shocked to see that they hadn't even made it to, they're 11th seed, so they was one of the last few to get in, and then now they just, have went on a run. Gonzaga and Arkansas, obviously Gonzaga is the number 1 overall seed. Do you see them having any trouble with Arkansas?
I'm sure, it'll be I'm sure it'll be a tough game for about 15 minutes, and then they'll keep it at, they'll keep it just far enough where it's not a blowout, but when Arkansas scores, they're not really, having to play perfect on the Gonzaga. And I don't really trust those SEC teams in terms of their guard play and their decision making, if that makes sense. I just feel like those kids are the best athletes in the country. Can't take it away from those kids. But when it comes to like X's and O's and executing and playing the game where every possession matters, like the NCAA tournament, nah, Gonzaga will beat them by 10, 12 points tonight.
All right. Does Duke go home tonight?
I believe so. I told you this on our first podcast. Texas Tech has the best defense in the country. I stand by that. And I believe that Mark Adams and the Red Raiders put them out tonight. They have older kids. They're more physical. They're not afraid of the moment because they've been counted out most of their whole lives. They got a lot of transfers. So I believe that they put the young Dukies out of there tonight.
Michigan Villanova is also tonight. Michigan has surprised me. I like Juwan Howard. I like the big fella down low. Villanova is consistency. I think Villanova gets past Michigan. What do you think for that game?
I think Michigan puts them out, similar to Iowa State. Michigan's ranked in the top 5 to start, and then they had some struggles, and people had written them off. Juwan Howard obviously had an incident that I know he regrets, which is he could change, so people would, start to write him off even more. But I think that Dickerson's too much for Villanova because you don't see those type of kids in the Big East, and I think they're going to throw it inside to him, and he's going to grind it out. And I think Michigan will pull it out tonight because I think Michigan had the tougher task in beating Tennessee, and they've already done that. So I think they'll beat Villanova tonight.
All right. Arizona, Houston. Ben Mathurin is really kind of showing his ass in the tournament, which is going to do wonders for his draft stock, I believe. I like his game. Houston is another team over the past 5 years that's been really consistent. That's Sampson, I'm right.
Yep.
Head coach there. He's really had them playing solid ball since he's got there. I don't see Arizona being in trouble, but what do you think?
I think Houston beats them. I'm rocking with Sampson. He's a really good coach. He's been the head coach in this moment before, and I think Tommy Lloyd is a really good coach too, but he hasn't been the guy in this moment. He's always been, Mark Few's guy, right, in these type of games, but now he has to be his own guy. And the one thing that TCU showed me in that game against Arizona is that if you control pace against Arizona, those young kids start to, come out of characteristic and do some things. And that was a 68-68 ball game before it went to overtime, which means TCU slowed it down and controlled pace. It only cracked the 80s once they got to overtime and Arizona was able to regain the pace. But I think with Sampson, once again, he's got older kids, got a more physical team. He's got more dogs out there because you got kids, that are from Houston that were counted out for some places. They're missing their 2 best players with injury, and Sampson can really coach. And I like Houston to really put this game. It's in San Antonio. It's not, This game is in San Antonio. Yeah. This is a home game for Houston. I like Houston to put this game away tonight.
So tonight you like all the underdogs except for Arkansas.
Gonzaga. Yes.
Okay. All right. Tomorrow we got Purdue, St. Peter's. I was shocked to find out that a guy I used to watch as a youngster, Shaheen Holloway, is the head coach at St. Peter's.
He is.
He was a really good point guard when I was young. I used to love watching him. Do they continue this magical run as a 15 seed against Purdue tonight, tomorrow night, or does Purdue, having the heavyweights and the lottery pick that they have and Ivy? What do you think happens there?
I think it's a much closer game than people anticipated to be. I do think they lose, but not because of lack of effort, or not because of any X's and O's. I just think that, when you have those runs, right, and you ride in that high, well, they've had now a week off, right, because you return to campus after the first round of games. And so now Purdue can look at the Kentucky film, look at the Murray State, like they can zone in on what it is they do, right? Like when Kentucky was scouting for them, they're probably trying to watch their MAC championship game. They're not able to really have a quality opponent on film, but Purdue has 2 quality opponents because Murray State is rated in the top 25 too when they beat them. They have 2 top 25 opponents that they can just say, okay, we've had a whole week to prepare for this. And so I do think they go home. And I do think that once they lose, you'll see that Holloway will be named the next head coach at Seton Hall.
That would be dope. Another number 1 seed, Kansas, taking on Providence. I seen that the Patriots let Providence use their team plane for the game. That's pretty dope. Kansas, I like the squad. I like what's my man's name? Obaji. He's solid. I like the white guard.
Christian Braun.
Yeah, he's got some attitude and he's got some athleticism. I like him.
He does.
I think Kansas, even though I had told people if Iowa got past Richmond that they would lose to Providence. I did say that, but I think Kansas takes this one as well. Who do you like in this?
I'm rocking with Ed Cooley. He's the most trusted coach to me at the college level. I never trusted Bill Self, and you know this going back 10, 12 years. I've told you how I feel about him. When the game is tight, I feel like he looks for ways that, to try to motivate the team. And it's too late. When the game is tight, if I got to motivate you late in the second half, we've already lost. And I think Ed Cooley gets this done.
Now, here's one that I'm most interested in. The battle of the blue bloods here with UCLA and North Carolina. Obviously, I pull for UCLA. They got an Iowa kid on the team and Tiger Campbell.
Shout out Tiger.
But as a kid, I think a lot of kids for the most part were, at least our age, somewhat rooted for North Carolina to some extent. So I like North Carolina too. Bacot has been great this year. UCLA obviously coming off of last year, they know they got that taste in their mouth. I don't know which way I would lean in this one. I told you before the tournament started that after Carolina beat Duke, that I thought that they could be a team that could really surprise the people, and they have. I don't know which way I would lean towards this one. I think I would go UCLA just because I think they're on a mission.
Okay. I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go Hubert Davis. I'm gonna go Hubert Davis, RJ Davis, Burkott, Caleb Love. I think they find a way to get it done. They until they almost blew the game, they made Baylor look like a high school JV team for about 35 minutes of that game. They had Baylor on the ropes looking bad. And I just think that once they started getting pressed, obviously, the game is tight. There's a reason that Baylor, was a top 5 team all country, top 5 team all season. So they're able to climb back in it. But Carolina still put it away in overtime. So I'm going to ride with them taking that momentum against UCLA. Just hasn't looked good this tournament. This has not looked good. They just have not looked like they did last year.
Okay. Who has surprised you so far as a player? Who has surprised you in this tournament so far where they've come out and played better than you probably expected them to?
Better than I expected them to. That's a good question. I would probably have to lean toward Charlie Moore of Miami. I mean, he kind of reinvented Miami's success. He reinvented his own career because this is like his 4th school, I believe. And he was highly ranked when he went to Kansas out of high school. And we kind of, he bounced around and was, I think he was at USC he was at a bunch of different schools. And I would say he's really taken that momentum from the ACC tournament and propelled Miami this far into the NCAA tournament. So I like to give a shout out to Charlie Bell because he's on the team's 11th seed. He's a kid that obviously bounced around some different schools for whatever reasons. And it's easy to forget about those kids, easy to write those kids off, but he's a Chicago kid. He's tough. Shout out Charlie Moore.
I'm surprised Dickinson's game and showed his ass like he has. He's really asserted his dominance as a big, and I think he's trying to show the NBA that he's somebody that you can take a chance on. I also like is it Manic at North Carolina, the transfer?
Yeah.
He's nice too. He's nice too up until that point where he got
the flagrant.
Yeah. He was busting their ass. He was busting their ass. So I like that. We're gonna move on to the NBA. Excuse me, I've been fighting this cold. Last night you had a number of games. You had the Memphis Grizzlies and you had the Brooklyn Nets, who earlier in the day received some good news. Kyrie is going to be able to play home games now. New York lifted the mandate on the whole vaccination thing, so that's a good deal. And he went out and dropped 43, I believe he did. And but it wasn't enough as the underhanded or shorthanded Memphis Grizzlies with no Ja won again with no Ja. This team looks like they're really, really for real. And obviously Brooklyn, is had to deal with their injuries and whatnot and people missing, but that's still a good win without Ja.
That is a good win, but I'm going to say it, and I've told you this off camera, and I'll say it again for the viewers. The Brooklyn Nets have to have Ben Simmons play his game. They're not going to win a championship with him sitting on the sideline, hoping with whatever mental illness or nagging injury. He has to be the third player on that team. It's as simple as that. As great as Kyrie's been, as great as KD is, that dude's got to play. He's got to be in that 15 to 16 range, 7 to 8 rebound range, 6 to 7 assist range, 1 to 2 is still blocked. There's no getting around that. Like that dude got to play. He got to play at the level that he's the reason that he's making $135+ million. There's no getting around that. And if Rich Paul, if you're watching this and you think that I'm crazy, then you need to go resign because that dude is getting paid a lot of money, and the Nets need to see that dude play at that level. Period. There's no more dodging. There's no more. Oh, I don't want to be in Philly. I don't want this. I got friction with no. That shit's over with. Get your ass out there and fucking play. Cut the bullshit, man. Cut the bullshit. Go play, Ben. Stop all that whining.
Yeah, what was the latest is that he's something with his back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something you've been saying with his back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I watched that game last night, man, and a guy who I said before he got drafted, I told you, I said, I think he's gonna be somebody that's people gonna sleep on is Desmond Bane.
Desmond Bane, you called it.
And man, the nigga is built like a NFL running back, but he be out there he's a beast. I mean, that game was close in the third quarter until he hit 3 straight threes, just back to back to back on them, and kind of put it, out of reach as far as the game was concerned. And
going back to my point, that's Ben Simmons' check, right? We don't need you to score 20 every night, Ben. But if Kyrie's cooking up on offense, KD's cooking up on offense, you're a defensive stopper, right? This guy is cooking us on the other team. We need you to slide over there and cool him off, Ben. That's why you're here. Where you at, big dog? Where the fuck you at, Ben? That's why you're here. Where you at?
Yeah.
There's no night. Where are you at?
And I'm gonna give your man some love too, because I was watching him and he did a way better job than I thought he would checking KD, which is Jaren Jackson Jr.
Thank you, sir.
He was checking KD, and KD is probably the toughest cover in the league.
For sure.
And I mean, KD is always going to get his, but I was impressed with his ability to stay in front of him and kind of challenge him to make him take some tough shots. But Memphis, man, they embody that attitude of Ja, and they're tough. I mean, they're going to be. I mean, they're right now the 2 seed in the West. I mean, they could be there. I mean, there's some other teams obviously that are a little more talented, but as far as the total package, I like what they got going.
Yeah, shout out to the Grizzlies. I will say this in the East though before we move on. There ain't nobody that can beat the Nets in a 7-game series other than Milwaukee. If they play Miami, if they play Chicago, they beating them dudes. So don't judge the Nets on what they're doing right now. Because in a 7-game series in the playoffs, when it matters, ain't nobody beating that team other than Milwaukee.
Well, the important thing right now, right, is that they don't have that luxury right now. They're in the play-in.
But they're going to win. They'll win the play-in game.
So I mean, the play-in is what, a 1 game?
Yeah, they'll win that game.
Okay, I mean, 7-game series is different, but you can slip up in 1 game.
I got faith in Kyrie and KD. Steve Nash, Cam Thomas.
Because what are they right now? The 7th? So
seventh, I believe. Yeah,
they would get the 10,
like the 10th seed. Yeah, and then the winner gets the number 2 seed. Yeah,
I think it's Atlanta.
Yeah, and you know how I feel about Trae Young.
Which is your boy. So
I love Trae Young. Shout out Trae Young.
One game, everything on the line.
I'm going with KD and Kyrie.
Okay.
I have to. That's too much star power for Trae Young to even overcome. I know he's been giving New York, nightmares since last June, but that's too much star power for him to overcome.
Yeah, like you look at the potential who they could face. They could face your other boy, Melo.
Shout out Melo. Shout out my man JJ, Manny Jackson, for repping Melo too. He told me he's a Hall of Famer. He looks like he's right. But like I said, once again, too much star power. Because I still feel like right now that Kyrie's back, I feel like KD is coasting a little bit, right? Like I feel like KD's playing at about 80% because he's like, yeah, Kyrie, go ahead, do your thing, run your stats up, get the people back on your side. You took a lot of heat, get back in your groove. When the playoffs come, now we got 100% KD, 100% Kyrie, hopefully 50% Ben Simmons. Forget about it. Put it to bed.
Staying in the East, Miami played Golden State last night.
Golden State, yes.
With no Steph, no Clay. Did Draymond play last night? I don't think.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't think
they had a lot of guys out, and they went into Miami,
right,
and was beating their ass, which resulted in an argument on the bench.
Yes.
Between my guy, Jimmy Butler, and Eric Spoelstra,
the head coach,
which then resulted in the ultimate goon, Udonis
Haslam sticking up for his coach,
speaking his piece. Now, you and me differ on Jimmy Butler.
Yes,
I think Jimmy is everything you want in a teammate on a team, and you say he's a cancer.
Yes, I do.
I don't see how you're a cancer where everywhere you go, the team improves. There's no way around it. Everywhere you go, the team improves, and when you leave, they get worse. And I was telling my little brother, I said, I wish somebody on the Bulls would fucking get into an argument. Show you fucking care. They're getting their ass whooped. They're just nonchalant. They're getting beat by 20, 30 points on national fucking TV, and they just ain't nobody pissed off. You know, to me, like I told you, I think this shit happens. I wouldn't look into it crazy, but that's just going to happen. And, you know, obviously, you know, they joked about it after the game, but I don't think it's nothing serious. What did you think of that situation?
I've always been against this. I think that when you have players and your star player or your highest paid player, however you want to word it, calling out the coach publicly, I think that's just a bad look, man. Like, that's a bad look for any team, for any player, for any level. That is just a bad look. The coach's job is obviously to put the players in a situation to be successful as they can be. The player's job is to perform. Are there going to be differences? Absolutely. Did I have differences with some of my players? Yes. Did I have differences with some of my coaches? Absolutely. But that needs to be a behind closed doors type of debate, conversation, argument, whatever you call it. It needs to be away from the public eye. It does not need to be, like in last night's case, in the middle of a timeout, right? Because I just said it's about Bill Self. If we're arguing about something in a timeout, we're already beat. The timeouts are used for strategic purposes of either getting you some quick rest or an X's and O's purpose, but not to sit here like Spoelstra said last night. What do you think, I'm going to fight you? I'm going to fight you. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the point of this right now. And I've always felt the way about Jimmy Butler, and I'll stand on it until I die. Yes, he's a great player, but everywhere he goes, there's a certain level of baggage and drama that he brings to that team that seems to get back to the media. Last night, it's firsthand, as there's a videotape of it, so it's not even hearsay anymore. And I'm telling you this, they lose and don't go as far as they should go this season, Pat Riley will get rid of that guy this season because nobody is above the Miami Heat. Nobody's above the Miami Heat. Okay, watch. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. Pat Riley, no one is above the Miami Heat. Nobody's above the Heat. Nobody's above the program.
That's the one thing I love about Pat Riley. To an extension.
Okay, cool.
Gave him all that money. They're not getting rid of Jimmy Butler. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, they better win. They better win and do what they need to do then. Because watch. They better win and do what they need to do.
I mean, they're the number one team in the East right now.
Okay, so that means they should beat what?
I mean, obviously they're playing for a championship.
Cool. Well, they better be in that championship. They better be representing the East in the conference finals again. Because I told you this a couple weeks ago. I didn't think that Kyle Lowry has played to the level of money that they warranted giving him.
Oh, that's like
there's been some letdowns on this team. So if Jimmy Butler wants to be frustrated, that's who you need to be frustrated with because you gave this dude $90 million and he don't look like Toronto Kyle Lowry. So you need to be you're frustrated. I
won't argue with you there, but what I'm saying is like, okay, you say all this baggage in Minnesota. All he did was call out the crybabies. That's all he did.
That's funny because I seen that same cryberry going head to head last night with Jay Crowder. Different people had a 60-point game a couple weeks ago.
And they lost.
I don't know.
They lost last night.
He had 60 points a couple weeks ago.
But how long you got 3 seasons after the fact? Once you get Anthony Edwards in there, where you start turning the tide.
Well, yeah, I mean they needed some help. One guy can't do it alone.
They've always underachieved, and like Jimmy Butler said, you got all these niggas here with all this talent, and there should be no reason they wouldn't. Like I said, when he gets there, they're 50
Tell me this.
Team. They go to the playoffs. They trade him out. They get the number 1 pick in the league.
Tell me this. Who you taking in a 7-game series in a head-to-head? Miami or Brooklyn? Who you taking?
Miami or Brooklyn?
Yeah.
right now, if Ben Simmons isn't playing, I'd take Miami.
Let's say Ben Simmons is playing. Let's say he's only 60% because he's rusty. He ain't played all year, so he ain't gonna be 100. Let's say 60%. Who you taking?
I think I still take Miami because they've been playing all year. They got to get chemistry with that Brooklyn team.
I agree. You need chemistry, but I'm taking
chemistry with that Brooklyn team. How do you fit Ben Simmons in here when he's not a guy that shoots the ball? And now you're going to have to give him the ball, let him bring it up, and put it in his hands to create. How does all of that work? Now Brooklyn definitely has the tools as far as Patty Mills and Curry and the shooters they got around them other guys. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you want to talk about shooting? Miami got shooters too. So
Miami got them. They got a lot of that. They sure do.
To what you were saying, Minnesota last night played Phoenix, was whooping their ass, and then let it go at the end, and there was some shit talking involved with Cat, which I respect the hell out of Cat. He's been through a lot in the past 2 years,
24 months, 24 months,
and to have the season that he's having, and kind of. That's what you want to see from Cat. You want to see him talk some shit. You want him to be that guy where he exudes confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like he's always kind of just been a quiet guy, but now he looks like he's a little bit coming out of his shell a little bit. They're a tough team. Regardless of them losing that game, they're a tough team. I don't think anybody really would want to see them in the playoffs because that's no layup for one of them top teams. Because I want to say right now they're the 6th or 7th seed, but that's a tough team. And Phoenix, I mean, 50. I want to say they got 59 wins now. They already locked up the best record in the league. Just saw tonight that Chris Paul is back. Is Phoenix for real? Do you like them out west better than anybody else?
Hell no. I ain't like them last year. I don't like them this year. I don't like them. Chris Paul gets to the playoffs and holds up, period. That's been his MO.
But they've been good without Chris Paul.
Well, guess what? He back tonight. So you can't keep him out, unfortunately. That might be their best chance.
So who do you like in the West? Do you like Memphis?
I like Memphis to push people. I don't know if I take them serious to win it all, but hey, man, if they're healthy, I like Golden State. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
I was on that train. I was on that train, but Golden State hasn't looked like Golden State in like 2 months.
Hey man, they haven't all been healthy, man. Draymond just came back not too long ago.
Can they in
and out their lineup?
Can they get it together in this short amount of time to really be that dominant team out west where you can definitively say that you like them better than Phoenix or Memphis?
Man, they got 3 championships between them 3 dudes.
They do.
They know how to get it done. These other teams are still trying to figure it out. They're following the Golden State.
Fair enough.
They just need to get healthy.
You know what? I'll give you a dark horse team in both conferences. In the West, I like Dallas. Luka,
of course, Luka's he's just so good, man. He's just
Luka
so good.
is unreal, and that's another guy I told you 2 years ago when he was a rookie. And after that rookie year, I said, "Yeah, there's not a guy in the league that I would take if I'm building a team. There's not a guy in the league I would take over him. There's nobody in the league that I would trade him for. He's that to me, in my opinion.
I respect it.
And out east, man, it seems like I fall for this shit every damn year with them.
I already know who you're gonna say.
They let me down.
I already know who you're gonna say.
But fucking Boston.
Boston. I knew it. I knew you were gonna say Boston.
Jason Tatum legitimately has played himself into the MVP conversation. Over the last month, I want to say he's played every major MVP candidate and lit their ass up in wins. They've gone from, struggling early in the year to now they are 4th, and I want to say tied with Philly for 3rd in the East. And the East is so close there, by the end of the year, they could be 2-1. We don't know, but the way they're playing, they're really, really hot. And it's just like, if the standard stood today, my Bulls would see them in the first round, and I have no faith in the Bulls right now doing anything. So Boston is it's scary to me right now. They look different, and it's under different coaching. You know, it's not Brad Stevens, so it's a different approach. So I'm curious to see how that shakes out. How you feel about Boston?
Same thing. I think they'll push people, but I don't take them serious for two reasons. I never know what's going on at the point guard spot, and I never know what's going on at the 5 spot. Like those are their positions that they have to figure out what they're going to do, and they're going to have to address those positions. Is Marcus Smart a point guard, or is he not? Right? Is he worthy of being a 35-minute a night guy, or is he somebody that you bring up? Like to me, they just got too many question marks at that position. And then at the 5 spot, it used to be Horford, now it's Robert Williams. Like I just don't know what the hell they're doing anymore.
I like Robert Williams.
What the hell they're doing anymore?
I like Robert Williams. I think between him and Horford for this year, I think by committee they could get it done, but I think that's going to be a position that they
got to address
in the future.
Yeah, they got to address
point guard. Yeah, I give you that.
So I like them to push, but I don't like them to do anything.
Tatum MVP candidate?
No, I still think that's between Jokic and Embiid. I mean, you could throw them on there for good measure, but I think the majority of those votes are going to go to Embiid and Jokic.
Okay.
Just because he waited so long to come on, you know what I mean? He waited so long to come on.
Yeah, but hell, if they end up first in the East at the end of the year, he's got an argument, right?
He would have an argument, but for me, I'm not a voter, obviously. But for me, it'd be hard for me to snatch it out of Embiid's mouth and then bypass Jokic, who hasn't had his star all season, to give it to Tatum, who's had his star but just waited so long to start playing his best basketball. You know what I mean? Like it would just be hard for me to bypass both those guys. And say, okay, here you go, Tatum. But we've seen this in the past, right? There's been a couple guys that didn't win it that should have, and that's just how it goes.
Right. NFL. Last podcast, we were talking about Deshaun Watson, where he could possibly end up. Ended up in Cleveland, of all places. Like I said, you had called that he was going to get cleared. He got cleared. He was trying to predict where he went. What did you think of Cleveland landing him?
I love it, man. For a small market team like my Lions, way to go out there and figure out what, they were out of the running. Then they called back and said, okay, what's it going to take? And his agent said, shout out to his agent, we'll give us $230 million guaranteed, and we'll come. And Cleveland thought about it and said, you know what? What's the alternative? Keep riding this Baker thing, keep being bad, keep taking a bunch of shit from the media. Fuck it. Let's give a guy $230 million and let's see, let's see how far he takes us. I just saw yesterday they added Odell Beckham back to the team. So I like it.
They added who back to the team?
Odell's coming back. Beckham is going back to Cleveland.
For real?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they're working on getting the deal done. Yeah. He informed LA that, hey, no disrespect, we did what we need to do together, but my agent is going to figure out how to get his deal done. I'm going back to Cleveland to play with Deshaun.
Wow.
Well, he wants to be a number one, and he just can't be that with Cooper Kupp. There's just no way. You know what I mean? Like that's what he ultimately craves.
You also have Matt Ryan. He was traded to the Colts. I think that's a decent landing place for him because the Colts already have the best offensive line in football.
No doubt.
I think they need another couple wideouts, but I mean Pittman is good. I think he can have a good year there, and they're going to be really, really competitive with him out there.
I agree. I mean, to me, in football, the AFC has become the Western Conference of the NBA. All the stars are in the AFC now. So whoever comes out the NFC, Brady or whoever, really don't mean shit. There's just too many good football players in the AFC. Like they're loaded. They are loaded on that side. We're not even talking. Right? We're just talking trades right now, right? We're not even talking about teams like Baltimore, right? They're going to get healthy and they're going to probably return to form. Like we're not even talking about some of the teams that have the pieces but just didn't have a good year because of injury, right? What do the Titans look like with the healthy Derrick Henry? We're not even talking about teams like that. Once again, 2 more AFC teams, right? What does Pittsburgh do if they actually get a quarterback? How good could they be? You know what I mean? Like we're not even talking about some of those.
They wouldn't sign Trubisky.
Well, I mean, I said if they get a quarterback, not a placeholder. That's a big difference. That's a big difference.
There was a report that they said that if Cleveland paid his entire salary, Pittsburgh would take Baker Mayfield.
I don't even think they can cap-wise. I think they have to offload him. I think that $18 million, because he's due $18 million. I think that $18 million he's due is just they just can't even they can't. Like they're just, they're in a bit of they're trying to get this thing done for Odell. They just got too many things that are priority on as far as their team that they need to get done before they try to help offload someone else.
What do you see him landing somewhere?
I told some people at my job today that if he doesn't land in Cleveland, or Seattle, then he's in trouble. Like, because what's going to happen is, and because of the Baker that we know, the confident Baker that we know, if he doesn't get picked up before the draft somewhere and he sits through the draft and has to rely on what teams do or don't get a quarterback in the draft, his confidence will be shot. It won't matter where he goes. His confidence will be shot.
You don't think it's a matter of maybe it humbles him and he realizes.
No, he's just like Johnny Manziel. If you instill confidence in him, he'll play to the moon. When you are verbally against him every week, like Skip Bayless has been and some other people in the media, then he goes into a shell and he becomes that kid that there's a reason he was a walk-on at one point. And then he goes to show you that he's that version of an NFL player when the confidence is broken or taken from him. He's still from this new generation where all these new athletes need a coach to instill the confidence. When you break it or take it from these kids, they go into a shell and they go into they can't. This generation is so sensitive they can't handle it. They cannot handle it, and that's what happens every time he gets thrown to the wolves by the media, by his coach, by Odell's father, by Odell, whoever it is. He just cannot. He can't overrise that. He can't do it.
Tyreek Hill.
Yes, that was crazy.
Right.
That was crazy.
Miami Dolphins for 5 draft picks.
Yeah.
Now, first question I had is why would Cincinnati, I mean not Cincinnati, Kansas City trade him? I didn't understand that.
I can answer that for you. It's actually the money that he wanted makes him the highest paid receiver. They were not willing to do that. So it was actually between the Jets and Miami because those were the Jets were able to do that.
Yeah, yes. I saw the Jets were involved.
So he literally is leaving Mahomes because he wants money. And he wasn't going to be able to get it with what Mahomes and now Kelsey just got read up. He was not going to be able to get the money he wanted. So in favor to them, he said, I don't want to just, leave this in ugly terms. Let's do some type of, thing where I sign it with the new team, but you got to get me out of here. Because I'm making my decision solely based off being the highest paid receiver because I believe I'm the best. So that's how that happened.
Would you pay him more than you paid Devontae Adams?
Not on that team because Tua can only throw the ball like 20 yards. So, I mean, what is he going to have? Like 100 catches? Like, because Tua can't throw the ball. I mean, Tua struggles to throw the ball down the field. I mean, Tua's not Kyler Murray with that type of arm strength. I mean, I know the comparison was there, but he's been in the league and been healthy enough to show us what he is. So I just think he's going to – let me go back to this one time. Remember when Detroit didn't re-up Ndamukong Suh?
Right.
Who ponied up and where'd he go?
Yeah, Miami.
Where's he at now?
Tampa Bay.
That's right. Yeah, because it never works in Miami. Miami always ponies up and pays these guys, but for whatever reason, never works, right? Never works. And then we find out the coach said they were paying me to tank games. So maybe that's why it doesn't work. I don't know, but it never works, man. It never works. He'd have been better off going to the Jets where Wilson can sling the rock. He'd have been better off going there for real.
Well, I heard today that supposedly the Jets did not offer a first-round pick.
Yeah. They probably didn't want to give it up. They're in rebuild mode. They need to hold on to as many of those as they can because they got so many holes to plug. The thing with Miami is you got the franchise quarterback, which questionable. You got this elite defense, questionable. So they feel like they're in a better position. But my thing is Tua can't throw the ball but 20 yards down the field. So good luck with that.
Tua has no excuses now. He's got Waddle, Tyreek Hill. They signed Cedric Wilson from the Cowboys. I think Devontae Parker's still there. They got the tight end, Jasecki or whatever his name is. Like, he has no excuses not to succeed there. They paid Taron Armstead $90 million, to protect him. So I mean, Dolphins are going all out for it, which I can respect.
I wish they did this with. I wish they did this when Flores was the coach.
It kind of reminds me of when the Bears traded for Khalil Mack in 2018, and they had the defense in place, and they had a young quarterback where you didn't have to pay him; he's on his rookie contract. Right. Where they thought they were close, and they were a good team that year, but playoffs came, damn double doink, and now that ended how it just ended this past year. So we're going in a whole new direction. With Tyreek Hill, do you think can he be as effective, or was he more? And I'm not saying that he doesn't have outwardly skills. Like, he's obviously the fastest guy in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that dynamic. But
Right.
is he a product of having Kelsey and Mahomes, or is he really worth top dollar? Like, I'll give you another example. Like, with Devontae Adams, obviously just went out and got paid, and I'm all for you getting the bag. But any receiver that's played with Aaron Rodgers that's been very good in Green Bay once they left Green Bay was not that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Aaron Rodgers is that good where he makes a lot of cats look better than maybe what they are. Randall Cobb wasn't the same. Greg Jennings wasn't the same. What was the Jordy Nelson?
Jordy Nelson.
You know what I'm saying? Wasn't the same. I think Devontae Adams is more talented than all of them, but is he gonna have them type of years in Vegas like he had in Green Bay? And then same with Tyreek. You know what I'm saying? Can he be that effective with Tua throwing him the ball?
I'll say this: he's worth the money, but I'll say it again: Tua can only throw the ball 20 yards down the field, so they're gonna have to game plan. They're gonna have to do a lot of screens, a lot of dump offs, and let him use his speed to take it to the house. Whereas back with Mahomes, he can just outrun the safety 45, 50 yards down the field, and you know what I mean? But now if he goes too far down the field, he's still going to outrun the safety, but Tua can't get the damn ball there. See what I'm saying? So they're going to have to throw it to him, you know what I mean, in 10, 15-yard and let him do the rest.
And then what's even crazier is the backup that they have, Teddy Bridgewater, is he's the same, got the same.
The same type of player. Yeah, the same type of player.
Yeah, you can't get the ball on the field.
But I do think he's dynamic, and I do think he's worth the money. Going back to Devontae Adams, him and Derek Carr played a year together in college. I think he's worth the money. I think he just got tired of Aaron Rodgers' shit, to be honest with you. I think he saw the writing and was like, okay, am I going to play him? Am I not going to play him? Get a bigger deal. Can I have this player on the thing? Can this player? Can I do this? Can I do that? And he just saw that every year Green Bay caves and caves more to Rodgers, but every year Rodgers loses in the first round in the home playoff game. So what are you caving for this guy for? What are you caving for?
Zadarius Smith has said it, where, they I can't remember what his quote was exactly, or the tweet that he had said, but it was to the effects of where they don't want to pay nobody else because they're paying Aaron Rodgers all that damn money. You know what I'm saying?
But you lose in the first round every single year.
And they still got Jordan Love. They wasted the first round.
Who I'm sure his confidence is probably shot at this point, right? It seems like Aaron's never going to leave. It seems like he's going to get all the money. And they're not trading Jordan. So it's like, well, you're just ruining me completely. You know what I mean? You're ruining me completely.
Yeah. What NFL team so far do you think has done the best in the offseason so
far? I would give it to the Raiders. They got a legit number one receiver. They locked up Crosby on their defense. Derek Carr is not the greatest quarterback, but Derek Carr is a model citizen. There ain't 29 other quarterbacks that would have went through what he went through this season with Gruden stuff, with Henry Ruggs stuff, and still came out and got that team to the playoff and still talked nicely about those guys to the media. Everybody else loves to throw people under the bus. Derek Carr took the high road. He talked nicely. He talked about loving those guys. He held it in a professional manner, and guys don't do that enough. And I think for that, I think the Raiders aren't being talked about enough. But I also think that's what the Raiders want. I think the Raiders don't want to be talked about, right? Josh McDaniels is a product of Bill Belichick. I think he doesn't want the limelight. I think he wants to just go over there and scheme and game plan. And once the game starts, we'll show you who we are. I think the Raiders
also got Chandler Jones.
They got Chandler Jones. Yeah, I think the Raiders.
I want to say they signed. Was it them that signed a decent corner? I thought they signed, but they did.
I think they win 10 games next year. In
that division.
Yes.
That division is nuts. And you think
it very well may be nuts, but let's not forget
that means they more or less got to win. They'll win every game outside of their division.
They went last year and won at Pittsburgh, and people thought Ben Roethlisberger was going to go on this farewell tour right to the sunset. They went week 2 and smacked Pittsburgh. They won at home, to open the season Monday Night Football. They got a new stadium. They got a lot of buzz in Vegas. I'm telling you, man. I think Devontae Adams is a legit number one. I think the defense is legit. I think you'll see a healthy Jacobs to be able to run the ball. McDaniels has a brilliant football mind. I know it didn't work the first time when he left Belichick, well, he's got a brilliant football mind. And I'm telling you, I think that team wins 10 games next year. I'm going on record as saying it right now. Right now.
I'm gonna go with a team in the same division. I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos. I mean, when you get Russell Wilson, you get Gregory from the Cowboys. That's really good on defense. They added another guy on defense. Who was it else they added on defense? Somebody else they added on defense. But I think to a defense that was already good, really good, and now you have a legit quarterback, and they've got good receivers. Judy, Sutton, who's the other cat? Guy out of I want to say this guy out of Purdue. I forget his name. Anyway, they got a bunch of good receivers. They're good running game. I think I go with the Broncos. And I mean that whole division is nuts. With the Chargers get Khalil Mack, re-signing Mike Williams. I mean, obviously Kansas City is Kansas City. Like you said, you got Vegas that just made their moves, and the Broncos. That's gonna be a war in the division there.
No doubt.
Division. You got an early favorite for your Super Bowl? Or you? Well, we'll wait for that because the draft's coming.
I probably need to wait till the draft and see what trades happen based off the draft.
There's 7 teams in this year's draft that have multiple picks in the first round.
Right.
7 teams.
The only problem with that is this year's draft is garbage. Ain't none of them kids worth the number 1 pick. That's why it's such a debate on what do you do, what don't you do. Because this year's draft is garbage.
Receivers deep.
If you got a quarterback to throw the damn ball. If you don't have that, it ain't going to matter.
Well, you look at a team like Green Bay that now has 2 first-round picks. They can go out and get receivers.
Yeah, we'll see.
And I also say I'm gonna give you a hot take. I'm gonna give you a hot take as far as the NFL draft. Aiden Hutchinson, that's the cat that's Michigan, right? Everybody talking about the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, oh boy, from the same Big Ten, from Purdue, Carl something Loftus or whatever his name is, defense in Purdue. He's gonna be better than Aiden Hutchinson.
I could see that. The hype is too much around Hutchinson.
And like I said, when I seen him against Georgia,
he was ineffective.
Look,
they took him right out the game.
No way in hell I pick him number 1. But I've been wrong before. All right, man. I'm gonna let you touch on some betting. You're the guru. You want to plug the credentials with the site and everything.
Check us out at chalkandchurn.com for new subscribers. Your very first time, we have a 200% guarantee, meaning if you buy a premium pick from us at $30 and you show us that you bought that pick and it happens to lose, we will not only give you your $30 that you paid us for it back, we'll give you what you would have won too. So you have nothing to lose. Just give us an opportunity. Chalkandchurn.com. We throw out more free picks than anybody, and we got top premium picks. For today's betting games, I'll give you 2 free picks that I really like for the general public to take a look at. Once again, this is March 24th today. So you can go check these picks out and see that they hit. We're gonna go with Texas Tech money line. I think they beat Duke. That's a nightmare for Duke. You got older, more physical kids that play defense. That is not a Duke type. That's not what Duke wants to do. They want to run up and down. They want to be able to make some mistakes because they're young. They want to be able to shoot the 3 ball. But with Texas Tech, you have to really value possessions because if you don't, that defense will suffocate you, right? And they'll turn a 3-point lead into a 7-point lead into a 14-point lead and put you to bed. So that'll be my first pick. And then my second free pick, we'll touch on some NBA, which I know is dear and fond to your heart. So I really want to come up with this pick for you. We're going to go Suns first quarter plus 1.5. I know that Denver and the Suns have had this debacle and debate, going back to last year, and Devin Booker and Jokic seem to always find their way getting into it, and I love it, and I know the fans love it. We're gonna go Suns first quarter plus 1.5. Those will be my 2 free picks for Chalk and Churn on March 24th. Check us out once again, chalkandchurn.com.
All right, man, and we're gonna go ahead and end the episode. Another episode of the Real Spill Sports Podcast. We are now available on all the major streaming platforms. Spotify, Apple, was it Amazon, YouTube shit coming soon. We trying to get some shit in the works for the TikTok, all that shit. So, so that shit's coming soon. But make sure you check us out once we start the YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. All that good shit. We got more guests working on that, getting more guests, have a lot more of that. Just some good content, some good bullshit. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Signing off. Catch y'all next episode.
Peace.